If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
How's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here in our video. So of course it's time to continue on the What If NASCAR Had the F1 Points format series. So the last time in this series we took a look at the truck series in the 2000s to see what would have changed under the F1 points formats in trucks. And we learned a number of things would have changed. We would have had a number of new champions, and a lot would have changed had the truck series used the F1 points format in the 2000s. And in this part, we're going to wrap up the truck series side of this What If branch by taking a look at the 2010s to see what would have changed in the truck series under the F1 points format from 2010 to 2019. So, of course, before we jump on into this part, when we first showed a points format we're using on screen, which is the current points format that is being used in F1 today. And for this one, like the Cup and Xfinity, we're not doing the double points for 2014 because double points is a stupid-ass gimmick that just manufactures drama, and I don't want any manufactured drama. So I'm not doing gimmicks, I ain't doing that. And for the fastest lap bonus point, it's a bit of a mess to try and find it, and especially in all three series, since NASCAR doesn't really keep track of it, it's a pain in the ass to try and find it, so we're not going to do that either. So the points format, of course, you see on the screen, that's the format we're going to use. No double points, no fastest lap, none of that. And before we jump right into it, let me once again stress out that this is just a hypothetical scenario. I know everyone would have raced differently had this format been in play. This is just for fun. So now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. So in 2010... we would have it come down to the final race of the year between Todd Bodine and Kyle Busch for the championship, as no one was on Todd Bodine's level in terms of series regulars. The only one that was on to Bodine's level or close to it was King Leach himself, Kyle Busch. So entering the finale, Todd Bodine entered with a 15-point lead over Kyle Busch. So if Kyle Busch won the truck race, Todd Bodine would have to finish 5th or better to lock up the championship. So in the season finale at Homestead, Miami, Kyle Busch, he would go on and win the finale. However, Todd Bodine, he would do everything he would need to lock up the championship, as Bodine would finish 4th in the season finale at Homestead. And that 4th place finish would have been more than enough for Todd Bodine to beat Kyle Busch for the 2010 Truck Championship by only 3 points. So, in 2010, Todd Bodine would still win his 2nd Truck Series championship, despite a furious charge from King Leach Kyle Busch. So, the 2011 Truck Series championship, it was mainly between 3 drivers, between Ron Hornaday, Johnny Sauter, and Austin Dillon. And Kyle Busch would also play in there too with his leaching powers. Of course, throughout the late in the season, Sauter and Austin Dillon would both fail to be consistent at key points of the year when it mattered the most, and they'd be eliminated with a couple races to go. Now, this would have come down to the final race of the season between Ron Hornaday and Kyle Busch for the championship, with Hornaday entering Homestead with an 8-point lead. But the turning point of this championship came at Texas, 14 laps into the second last race of the season at Texas, with the infamous Kyle Busch-Ron Hornaday incident. When Hornaday would slide up the track trying to avoid a lap truck, and he'd make slight contact with Kyle Busch. Both of them would slide up into the wall, and then under caution, Kyle Busch would try and kill Hornaday at full speed and wreck Hornaday while Kyle Busch wrecked himself. And we all know what happened. But under the F1 points format, that incident would have made Kyle Busch look like a complete fucking idiot, since Kyle Busch did not compete in the truck race at Homestead, Miami. It meant that that incident there decided the championship. So in other words, when Kyle Busch wrecked Hornaday at Texas, Kyle Busch effectively took himself out of the championship battle and handed the championship to Hornaday right there on the spot. So instead of Kyle Busch looking like a complete fucking asshole in that situation, all Kyle Busch did was just make himself look like a complete fucking idiot under the points format. So because of that incident, Ron Hornaday would pretty much lock up the championship at Homestead by default. And that would have been Ron Hornaday's 6th championship and one of the weirdest ways to win a championship. See how Kyle Busch, maybe you should have been the one to race smarter on lap 14 instead of Hornaday. You dumbass. So the 2012 Truck Series season, it was one of those weird seasons where there wasn't a clear dominant driver all year. It was mainly a toss-up between a number of different drivers. Hell, in this season we had 8 or 9 first-time winners, which is insane. See how it was mainly a year where a lot of drivers finally broke through and got their first win and their first taste of success in the Truck Series. But in terms of the championship battle, it was mainly a 4-man battle for the championship between James Buescher, second-generation racer Nelson Piquet Jr., the son of 3-time F1 world champ Nelson Piquet, Timothy Peters, and Joey Coulter. All 4 were the consistent drivers all year that separated themselves from the rest. But in the end, Nelson Piquet Jr., Timothy, and Joey Coulter all would fail to be consistent in key points of the year when it mattered the most. James Buescher would take full advantage of it and pull away. And James Buescher, he would lock up his first truck championship with around 2 races to go in the season. So under this format, James Buescher would still win the 2012 Trucks Championship. So, 2013, it was another season, one of those seasons where there wasn't a clear dominant driver all year. It was mainly a number of different drivers. Sadly, not as many first-time winners as the year prior, but still. The main drivers that separated themselves from the rest, we had the championship mainly was between guys like Johnny Sauter, Ty Dillon, Matt Crafton, Ryan Blaney, and Brendan Gaughan. Now, James Buescher and Timothy Peters would also be part of this battle too, but sadly, not everyone can compete for the championship. And they would both fall really late out at certain points in the year. While Matt Crafton, Ryan Blaney, and Brendan Gaughan would all fail to be consistent at key points in the year when it mattered the most, and they'd be eliminated with a race to go in the year. So in the end, the championship will go down to the season finale at Homestead, Miami between Johnny Sauter and Ty Dillon, with Sauter entering with a 16-point lead over Ty Dillon. So pretty much Ty would have to finish well. Like, Ty would have to finish at least second or better, and would have to have Sauter struggle in the race to have a shot at the championship. Sauter just needs Ty Dillon to finish third or worst, or finish strong in the points to have a shot at the championship. Well, in the season finale at Homestead, Miami, it was a very anticlimactic finale as both of them ran mid-pack all race. Sauter, he would have a caution late in the race as he would be involved in an accident, but Sauter would recover and finish 16th. But Ty Dillon, he could not take advantage of that situation, and Ty would end up finishing 14th, which means that the title would effectively have been decided at Phoenix, where Johnny Sauter would end up winning the championship by default by 16 points over Ty Dillon. Now, Kyle Busch would go on and win the season finale and would end up second in the championship. But all Kyle Busch's winning the season finale did, it just made the championship look closer than it actually was. So the 2014 Truck Series Championship battle, it was mainly a three-man battle for the championship between Matt Crafton, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Blaney. All three were even with each other in terms of speed and consistency all year. But late in the year, at key points in the year, Bubba and Ryan would both fail to be consistent at key points in the year when it mattered the most. Matt Crafton would take full advantage of it, and he would pull away from Bubba and Ryan late in the season. And Matt Crafton would end up locking up his first Truck Series championship with around 2 races to go in the season. So Matt Crafton would still win the 2014 championship under this format. So the 2015 season championship battle, it would have been a three-man battle for the championship between Matt Crafton, Eric Jones, and Tyler Reddick. All three were dead even with each other in terms of speed and consistency all year. But late in the year, at key points in the year, Tyler Reddick, he would fail to be consistent when it mattered the most, and Reddick would be eliminated with around a race or two to go in the season. So in the season finale, it would go down to the season finale at Homestead, Miami between Crafton and Eric Jones, where Matt Crafton would enter Homestead with a 20-point lead over Eric Jones. So it was set up to where Eric Jones had to win the race to win to have a shot at the championship. So if Eric Jones won, Crafton would have to finish at least 7th or better to win the championship. But Crafton can also lock up the title if Eric Jones finishes 2nd or worst. So Eric Jones, he would have to win and need a lot of help to have a shot at the title. So in the season finale at Homestead, Miami, Eric Jones, he ran pretty quiet most of the night. He ran like around top 10, top 5 all night. He would end up finishing 6th, while Matt Crafton, he did everything he could to keep Eric Jones from winning the race, as Matt Crafton would straight up dominate the season finale at Homestead, and Crafton would go on to win the race. And the race win would have been more than enough for Crafton to win his 2nd straight championship, as Crafton would win the truck title by 37 points over Eric Jones. So Crafton under this format will get his 2nd straight championship in 2015. So 2016 on, this is when this series really becomes hypothetical later at this point on, with the introduction of the chase grid in the truck series, which is what we have today. So yeah, things would have been a lot different if there was no truck chase, hypothetically. So yeah, anyway, in the 2016 season, it was all about 2 different drivers. It was about William Byron and Johnny Sauter. Both were dead even with each other on speed and consistency. Both were neck and neck with each other all year. In the end, this championship battle would go down to the season finale at Homestead, Miami, with William Byron entering with an 11-point lead over Johnny Sauter. So Byron just had to stay close to Sauter to win the championship, and Sauter would need to finish well and have Byron finish a few spots back to win the championship. In the season finale at Homestead, Miami, both Byron and Sauter ran up front all race. But in the end, Johnny Sauter, he would finish 3rd in the season finale. But William Byron, he would go on to win the season finale at Homestead, Miami. And that win would have been more than enough for Byron to win the Truck Series Championship over Johnny Sauter by 21 points. So under this format, William Byron would win the championship over Sauter. So, 2017, it was mainly between 2 drivers. It was between Christopher Bell and Johnny Sauter. Both of them were the class of the field all season. Nobody were on their levels all year. But late in the year, it was clearly obvious that Bell was better than Sauter in consistency and speed. And Sauter, he would fail to be consistent in key points of the year when it mattered the most. Bell would take advantage of it off consistency. If Bell would pull away from Sauter late in the year, and Christopher Bell would lock up the championship with a race to go in the season at Phoenix. So under this format, Christopher Bell would still win the 2017 Truck Championship. So the 2018 season, it was about two drivers. It was a two-man championship battle between Johnny Sauter and Brett Moffitt. Both of them were really dead even with each other on speed and consistency. It was just about who could get the high ground over the other. But late in the year, Brett Moffitt would fail to be consistent in key moments when it mattered the most. Johnny Sauter would take full advantage of it, and Sauter would pull away from Moffitt late in the season. And Johnny Sauter would lock up his second Truck Series championship with around 2 races to go in the season. So under this format in 2018, Sauter would win his second Truck Series championship. So the 2019 Truck Series season, it was one of those weird seasons where there wasn't a clear-cut dominant driver all year. It was mainly between a lot of different drivers that you could have made a case for. But in the end, there were 3 drivers that separated themselves from the rest. And those 3 being Brett Moffitt, Ross Chastain, and Stewart Friesen. In terms of consistency, Moffitt really had a strong second half of the season and got going. And then at key points in the year, Chastain and Friesen would fail to be consistent when it mattered the most. And Moffitt, of course, second half of the year, he just came alive. And Moffitt would pull away from Chastain and Friesen late in the year. And Brett Moffitt, he would lock up his first Truck Series championship with a race to go in the season at Phoenix. So under this format, Moffitt would win his first Truck Championship in 2019. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this part. So yeah, we learned a number of things would have changed in the Truck Series in the 2010s if they had the F1 points format. And a couple things stayed the same. Like, in terms of championship battles that went down to the season finale, we had 4 title battles go down to the finale, and those being 2010, 2013, 2015, and 2016. And we would have 6 title changes in the 2010s, those being 2011, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2018, and 2019. So only 3 championships would remain the same under the F1 points format. And we also learned that Ron Hornaday would pretty much be the GOAT of the Truck Series. And we also learned that in the 2010s, Kyle Busch is the equivalent of Junior Johnson in the Truck Series, where Kyle Busch wins an assload of races but has no truck championships, except as an owner. So yeah, and yeah, no Leach championships also. So yeah, there's only 1 total Leach championship in the Truck Series, and that was Mark Martin's in 2006. Yeah, none from Kyle Busch, but Kyle Busch would be the greatest driver to never win a Truck Series championship under the F1 points format. So yeah, soul for a soul. But yeah, it's very interesting for sure that what would have changed and what wouldn't change under the F1 points format. So yeah, we now got 1 part left in this series for now. And we're going to do the 2020 season for Cup Trucks Xfinity in our next part. So in terms of that one, it shouldn't take that long to do. All I got to really do is the Truck Series, because I already did Cup and Xfinity already, so let's just get the trucks done. And then that part, it shouldn't take too long to get done. See, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this part. That's all I got to say. I'll see you on whatever I make next. And in terms of what happens with the series after the 2020s, after I do the 2020 part of this series, I will do an update at the end of the next part of the What If series to tell you all the future of this series. So yeah, anyway, that's going to do it here. I'll see you on whatever I make next. Peace out.